Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Izzuddin Zamri. Today I will give a lecture about the aesthetic medicine. Maybe everyone, I'm not sure, or maybe some of you know about the aesthetic medicine. It is actually not a pharmaceutical field. It is a doctors or medical officer punya field. Tapi we need to know about the aesthetic medicine in this course, which is cosmetic science. Okay, this is the outline for today's lecture. First, we will go through the introduction to aesthetic medicine. I will briefly give the background to the aesthetic medicine, and then we go to the various dermal fillers used in the aesthetic medicine. Okay, and then after that, we go to the different types of the products used in the aesthetic medicine. Lastly, we will go to discuss the complications, side effect, which may result in using the preparation. Okay, I will introduce you to the aesthetic medicine. Okay, aesthetic medicine is a combination of art and science, which branching from the medicine that relies on the procedures and techniques to improve and enhance the appearance, the texture, and the contour of the skin, face, and body of an individual. That's why we call it as the combination of art and science, because it needs artistic skills, and also it needs the knowledge in the medicine field. Okay. Aesthetic medicine employs techniques and technologies that are either non-invasive or only minimally invasive without general anesthesia. While the aesthetic surgery, this is the comparison between the aesthetic medicine and aesthetic surgery. Okay, aesthetic surgery employs invasive surgical procedures that require significant tissue undermining, the dissection or skin excision. Okay, for example, rhytidectomy, brachioplasty, and abdominoplasty. All of them are invasive surgical procedure and need general anesthesia. The minimally invasive procedure in the aesthetic medicine typically require only dermal or subcutaneous injections, puncture, or a small incision, and it may involve the topical anesthesia, not general anesthesia. For example, minimally invasive procedure in aesthetic medicine are the botulinum toxins, temporary fillers, fat transfer, suture lift, and any form of the lipoplasty. Okay, aesthetic medicine ni dia lain, dia in contrast with other medical specialties. Kenapa? It is because the patients request the procedures, not because they are unwell, but because they want to look and feel better. Okay, that's why it is in contrast with the most other medical specialties, where the focus is on the diagnosis, the treatment of pathologies and illnesses. And then aesthetic medicine is having rapid growth globally due to the increased patient demand for rejuvenating procedures that do not involve surgery. So if you don't want or afraid of the surgery, you can opt for the aesthetic medicine. In addition, aesthetic medicine therapies are quick, relatively painless, offer natural looking but measurable results, and cause little to no interruption to normal activities. If you experiencing the aesthetic surgery, you need to have a healing time. Okay, this is what benefits of the AM aesthetic medicine. They do not interrupt the normal activities. Okay. Nonetheless, aesthetic medicine is not the replacement of aesthetic surgery, although aesthetic medicine can be used in place of surgery for similar procedure. But patient who opt for the less invasive procedure is recommended to get the aesthetic medicine as compared to aesthetic surgeries. Okay, this is the comparison between aesthetic medicine and aesthetic surgery. With the same indication, you want the facelift. Okay, aesthetic medicine offer the sutural lift, while aesthetic surgery offers rhytidectomy, minimal access, cranial suspension lift. That's the procedure for aesthetic surgery. If you can see here that tomidectomy and then ada plasti, semua perkataan yang plasti dengan omi tu melibatkan pemotongan, okay? And it is under the aesthetic surgery. While aesthetic medicine, nama prosedur dia tu lain lah, dia tak ada macam rectidectomy, plasti, semua tu lah. Okay, for the indication of neck lift, aesthetic medicine offers sutural lift, tissue tightening, chemodenervation of platysma bands. And then for the aesthetic surgery, it need the procedure of neck lift or platysmaplasty. And then for the brow lift, the aesthetic medicine offer botulinum toxin injection, or you can opt for the sutural brow lift. As for the aesthetic surgery, they need to go for forehead plasty and endoscopic brow lift. And then you can go through the other indications lah, okay? And then I will go to the next slide. Procedures in aesthetic medicine address most aging signs, including abnormal skin pigmentation, okay, and then skin laxity, ptosis. Okay, ptosis ni ialah the drooping of the eye. Okay, dia jadi macam jatuh ke bawah sedikit. And then the rhytids. Okay, rhytids ni is the medical term for the wrinkles, fat loss, and also contour irregularities. Okay, the most common procedure in aesthetic medicine are chemodenervation, okay, STA with fillers, and then skin resurfacing, microneedling, microdermabrasion. All of the treatment modalities is for different indication. Okay, for the chemodenervation, the example of product I also give at the right or at the last column of this table. We have Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin. The fillers, we have the Restylane, Teosyl, Global Action, Juvederm. All of them is the name of the product. Okay. Okay, just now we are discussing about this treatment, this indication have the treatment modalities, and we discuss about if you afraid of the aesthetic surgery, you can opt for the aesthetic medicine. Actually, the that I mentioned here is a general population lah. But as a Muslim, we have to look at the Islamic perspective on the aesthetic medicine. Okay, based on the keputusan Fatwa Kebangsaan Muzakarah Jawatan Kuasa Fatwa Majlis Kebangsaan bagi Hal Ehwal Ugama Islam kali ke-74, which convened on the 2006, agreed that botulinum toxin type A is haram. Okay, it is haram. Then the treatment using filler that change one's physical appearance also is haram. We cannot change our appearance permanently. Okay, and then in Surah Al-Rum, ayat 30, okay, O Prophet and his followers, turn your face single-mindedly to the true faith and adhere to the true nature on which Allah has created human beings. Okay, and then the mold fashioned by Allah cannot be altered. That is the true straight faith, although most people do not know. And then above verse clearly stated the prohibition of altering Allah's creation in terms of religion as well as physical alteration. Okay, not all procedures in the aesthetic medicine are haram or prohibited. For example, the treatment of laser for hyperpigmentation is permissible. And then for the collagen injection, It is permissible if the purpose is to gain back the previous beauty, which is not due to aging, but maybe due to disease, maybe due to the accident, or maybe due to negligence, or in the preserving health, that are permissible, but not because I dah tua lah, I nak cocok filler collagen lah, that is prohibited. Okay. Contoh is disease apa yang boleh menyebabkan kulit jadi apa ni, kulit jadi kendur atau kulit jadi tak rata. For example is HIV. Okay, HIV ni dia akan menyebabkan kulit jadi kendur, ada satu condition tu. So it is permissible for that person to get the collagen injection. Okay. And then we will go to the prohibition. Okay, prohibition for the collagen injection if the purpose is to enhance and exhibit the beauty. Okay, and also if the collagen used is from the prohibited sources, such as from the unslaughtered bovine or from the porcine. Okay. Okay, now we go to the next part of the lecture, which is the various types of dermal fillers and their commercial product. Okay, there are a great variety of the injectable fillers that are available, especially in Europe and also the South America. Injectable fillers may be classified according to the degree of degradability. Degree of degradability sama ada dia permanent or temporary filler. Thus, the classification is as follows. First is the biodegradable filler, non-biodegradable filler, and also the combination of bio and non-biodegradable fillers. Okay, the example of biodegradable fillers is collagen and hyaluronic acid, polylactic acid, calcium hydroxyl apatite, and polyvinyl alcohol. Okay, the criteria of filling materials that would need to meet to be accepted by the medical community are it must be easy to apply, non-toxic, non-carcinogenic, non-immunogenic, and also promoting good cosmetic outcomes. Various dermal fillers used in aesthetic medicine, I will go one by one. First, we go through the biodegradable fillers. They possess the limited lifespan, which usually ranging from a couple of months to several months, or even to a couple of years. They usually consisted of purified dermal components from human, animal, or bacterial sources. Okay, so it can be subdivided into the following categories, which are the xenograft. Xenograft is from the different species. Since the filler is meant to be used in human, so if that fillers is from the animal or from the bacterial source, it is called as the xenograft. Okay, and for the homograft and allograft, they are from the human sources, from the same species, homograft, allograft. So maybe the filler is made or is come from the human cadaver or any or sources from human. And then for the autograft is the source is from the same individual, the same species and same individual. Okay, so maybe before the procedure of autograft, they need to take the sample from the individual itself, and then it will be processed in the lab, and then will be injected back to the affected area of that individual. That's what we call autograft. And then we also have synthetic materials. Okay, collagen. Collagen is a type of biodegradable fillers. Okay, the collagen can be from various original sources with specific characteristics. It can be from the bovine origin, porcine origin, and human origin. And as we have the previous categories, that xenograph, autograph, homograph, so bovine and porcine origin is the a xenograph, okay, from different species. For the human origin, it is categorized as allograph or homograph. Okay, first we go to the collagen from bovine origin. Okay, collagen was the most widely used filler for treating facial wrinkles and folds until hyaluronic acid fillers received the FDA approval. So collagen was the most widely used before 2003, but after hyaluronic acid fillers received the FDA approval, it becomes more popular than the collagen filler. Okay, several bovine collagen preparation is available. For example, Zydem 1, Zydem 2, and Zyplus, which are distinguished by the collagen content and the addition of glutaraldehyde for stabilization. Okay, glutaraldehyde is the cross-linker because it cross-links the lysine residues within the collagen structure, which leads to the increasing stability due to the ability to resist in vivo enzymatic degradation. Okay, that's why it need to have the cross-linker of glutaraldehyde. And then generally collagen preparation consists of 95 to 98% type 1 collagen and up to 5% type 2 collagen is presented in the 0.5 to 2.5 ml syringes and suspended in phosphate buffered saline with 0.3% concentration. About 3% of population are eligible to bovine collagen. Thus, the double skin testing is needed. Okay, because you need to test to do the skin testing first to make sure that there are no allergy to the bovine collagen. Okay, how the skin testing is done is the injection into the dermis of volar aspect of forearm. Kat sini lah, the volar aspect of the forearms, and then after the injection, it needs 2 injection with 2-week interval. If there is no allergic reaction, you can continue the injection to the affected area. Okay. Okay, these are the famous collagen bovine origin product: Zydem 1, Zydem 2, and Zyplus. Okay, Zydem 1 contains 35 milligram per ml of bovine collagen for superficial injection in the papillary dermis to correct fine wrinkles or fine line. As a saline absorbed soon after injection, overcorrection by up to 200% is required to achieve satisfactory result last up to 3 months. Okay, overcorrection meaning that if the injection need berapa mil, contohlah injection 2 needs 10 mil of Zydem 1, so we have to overcorrect with 200%, so maybe kena double up. Okay, 30 mil 30 mil of the Zydem 1 should be injected. Okay, that's what we call overcorrection. Okay, and then Zydem 2 ni dia pekat sikit, which is 65 milligram per mil of bovine collagen. It is for deeper injection in papillary dermis. Kalau Zydem 1 tadi untuk fine wrinkles, fine line. And Zydem 2 is for deeper injection for the deeper lines. And then some overcorrection is also required to achieve satisfactory final result. Okay, for the Zyplus is the most robust among them, which contains 35 milligram per ml collagen, but it is cross-linked with the glutaraldehyde for stabilization. I.e. Glutaraldehyde tadi dia cross-links the lysine residue within the collagen structure, leads to the ability to resist in vivo enzymatic degradation, making it more stable, making the collagen to be more stable. Okay, for the Zyplus, there are no overcorrection required, and the result will last up to 3 to 4 months. Okay, for the porcine origin collagen, it have not been widely used. Okay, for example, the product is the Evolence. This is the novel porcine collagen filler introduced into European market in 2004. Okay, this product cross-linked by mimicking the process of collagen glycation using D-ribose as the cross-linking agent. For the bovine, just now is used the cross-linker is the glutaraldehyde. As for the porcine origin collagen, it used D-ribose as the cross-linker. It claimed that the product durability is up to 1 year. Kalau bovine tadi 3 to 4 months, but porcine origin 1 year. The pre-testing was not considered a prerequisite. Why? Because the allergic reaction is none to little occurrence. Okay. However, it was discontinued by the product developer Janssen J&J due to the economic reasons. Maybe the market is only for the is limited because it is porcine. Okay. For the human origin collagen, it can be subdivided into allogenic and autologous. Okay, allogenic tadi di bawah kategori allograft ataupun homograft. Allogen ini apa? The donor is another person but same species. For the autologous or autograft, it is a self-donor, as I explained just now. Okay, allogenic collagen from cadaver. Other than the bovine and porcine sources, collagen can be derived from the human cadavers. Example of the product is the Dermalogon and Symetra. Okay, both of them derive from the pooled human cadaverous tissue from the accredited tissue banks, and they extract the collagen out from that pool of human cadavers. Okay, scary tapi ada. Overcorrection is recommended, same as the bovine origin collagen just now. The data of efficacy and safety are limited, but there was a randomized control trial, okay, that have the various outcome measures used in the study favored Symetra over Zyplus. Okay. Allogenic collagen from culture. Just now is from cadaver, but this is from culture. Non-cadaverous later generation of human origin collagen is the human origin collagen from culture. The example of product is Cosmoderm and also Cosmoplast. It is made from the natural human collagen grown under the controlled laboratory condition. There are no pre-testing needed. Because it is composed of highly purified human-based collagen that is dispersed in the phosphate buffered physiological saline containing 0.3% lidocaine. The Cosmoderm, the difference between the Cosmoplast is on the cross-linking. Cosmoderm is non-cross-link formulation indicated for the treatment of the superficial lines. As for the Cosmoplast, it is cross-linked and is used primarily in the treatment of pronounced wrinkle or deep wrinkle. For the autologous collagen, the commercial preparation of autologous collagen consists of dermal extracellular matrix, collagen type 1, 3, and 4 that has been harvested from the patient's own skin, and then it is cultured in lab. Okay, it requires excision of patient's skin, thus it is suitable for those undergoing surgical procedure. Okay. Okay, done with the collagen. We go to the next biodegradable filler, which is hyaluronic acid. Okay, emergence of the hyaluronic acid preparation had revolutionized the injectable filler market since they require no skin pretesting, as that's their benefits lah, as compared to the collagen. And then it belongs to the family of glycosaminoglycans, consisting of the repeating units of D-glucuronic acid and N-acetyl D-glucosamine. It is ubiquitous in the extracellular matrix of all animal tissue. Okay. Hydrophilic properties of the hyaluronic acid, it attracts water into the extracellular matrix, therefore it increase the skin turgor. Skin turgor tu meaning that the skin become more voluminous lah. Dia jadi macam lagi bukan tembam tu macam gemuk kan, tapi dia macam lagi apa ni nama dia, tegang. That kulit menjadi tegang. Again, it provides structural support to the tissue by attracting up to 1,000 times its weight in water. Okay, hyaluronic acid is gradually degraded, thus it needs cross-linking with several substances to stabilize them. For example, the cross-linker used are the 1,4-butanediol diglycidyl ether. Okay, this cross-linker have been used by this product called Restylane. Okay. If the hyaluronic acid is not cross-linked, it will be broken down by hyaluronidase and release the free radicals into CO2 H2O. Okay, hyaluronic acid can be derived from avian or bacterial. For the collagen tadi, can be derived from bovine, porcine, and human, but HA can be derived from the avian meaning that the birds lah, burung, and then bacterial sources. Okay, avian origin hyaluronic acid is the first non-collagen filler to be widely used. For example, Hylaform. Okay, Hylaform is the name of the product. Hylaform product family is based on the hyaluronic acid derived from the process rooster combs. Okay, rooster combs ni yang kat atas ayam jantan punya, dia macam rambut tu kan, atas kepala dia. The product with the average content of hyaluronic acid of Hylaform ni dia ada 5.5 mg per ml hyaluronic acid. It is easy to inject due to its superior rheological properties and is less palpable than some product of bacterial origin. Okay, Hylaform product dia ada banyak line, dia ada banyak subsection pula, which are Hylaform Fine Line and Hylaform Plus. Okay, Hylaform Fine Line ni dia untuk delicate lines in skin, including nasolabial folds, glabellar lines, and pronounced lines around the mouth. And for the Hylaform Plus, it is indicated for the deeper folds, lip augmentation, and also the facial contouring. The pre-testing is generally not required since hyaluronic acid is less allergenic than the bovine collagen. The immunological reaction in the recipients can be caused by the residual proteins from the donor or from the cross-linking process. As for the hyaluronic acid from the bacteria, an example of it is the Restylane, Juvederm Ultra, Thiocell, and Previl silk families. Hyaluronic acid used in the preparation had a lower molecular weight, but used in higher concentration than the avian products. For example, higher concentration because the previous avian origin is like 5 mg per ml, right? But for this product, for bacterial origin, it needs 20 mg per ml in the Restylane, and then 24 mg per ml in Juvederm and Hydrophil. Rheology is less, rheology meaning that the flowability dia lah is less than the avian hyaluronic acid, thus the pressure must be applied while injecting it into the dermis. Most currently marketed HA fillers are derived from the biofermentation of Streptococcus equi and are presented in pre-filled syringes with volumes ranging from the 0.5 to 3 ml. And then Juvederm and Thiocell product are example of monophasic product which are viscoelastic gel that are not sliced or sized into particles during the manufacturing process. So there are differences between the product of bacterial origin hyaluronic acid. The important differences between them are the concentration of the hyaluronic acid in each syringes, the agent used for the cross-linking of hyaluronic acid polymers, the degree of the modification and cross-linking, the amount of free unmodified hyaluronic acid present, whether the product is monophasic or biphasic. Monophasic ni usually the gel, ataupun biphasic which is particulate. And the elastic modulus G prime of a gel also different. Okay, we are still in the hyaluronic acid bacterial origin. Okay, for the Restylane product family, it is a biphasic particulate gels which pass through screening during manufacturing process so that the Restylane fine lines has 200,000 particles per milliliter. Restylane has 100,000 particles per milliliter, and then Restylane sub-Q has 1000 particles per milliliter, which is thicker. And then products with a higher concentration of cross-linked hyaluronic acid or larger particle sizes are generally indicated for deeper injection in the dermis and subcutaneous tissue to correct deep folds or for facial contouring, and may have a higher tissue residence times compared to products with lower concentrations of cross-linked hyaluronic acid or smaller particle size. Okay, now we go to another compound, another type of filler, which is polylactic acid filler. It is still under biodegradable filler. The PLA is synthetic, but this is not from animal or from bacterial origin. This is a synthetic filler, and it is a biodegradable materials. The polylactic acid is the same substance as used in the suture material, benang untuk pembedahan. Okay, the PLA is different as its action is based on not on the filling but on the increased dermis volume. It gradually stimulates collagen formation after injection, induced by the stimulus on the fibroblast, which takes some time and several treatment sessions, usually 3 sessions with 6 to 8 weeks apart. The results are supposed to last up to 2 years. Okay, for the collagen just now, collagen we inject directly and the effect is instantaneous, same as the hyaluronic acid. When we inject in under the skin, it will become turgor because the skin become turgor because it will expand, because it will absorb 1,000 times more water than its molecular weight. So it will tegangkan the skin. Lain dengan polylactic acid ni, dia bila kita inject in the dermis, it will stimulate the collagen formation. That's why it will take some time and with several treatment sessions. The PLA need to be diluted 2 hours before injection with a recommended dilution of 5 ml with addition of 1 ml of local anesthesia. Retrograde injection technique is recommended. Okay. We go to another synthetic biodegradable filler, which is calcium hydroxyl apatite (CHOA). It is another comparatively new product that is made from the synthetically formed calcium phosphate pearls. When injected, they form a foundation within the matrix that allows local cellular infiltration of fibroblasts. The effect of the CHOA is lasts longer than other biodegradable product. CHOA is visible on X-rays, thus individual that have a filler of CHOA need to inform the doctor should they require an X-ray of the face. Example of product is Radiase, comprised of CHOA microsphere of 25 to 45 micron diameter, suspended in a carboxymethyl gel carrier. CHOA found in Radiase is identical to that found in the matrix of bone, which is biocompatible and provides long-lasting correction of deep wrinkles and folds and contouring of facial features such as cheekbone and nasal dorsum. Following injection, the CHOA microsphere undergo fibrous encapsulation and provide a network of scaffolding for collagen ingrowth from surrounding tissue. So the mechanism is the same as the PLA just now. It promote the collagen formation, but for CHOA it can be scaffolded, and then the collagen will grow following the scaffold. Gel carrier absorbs over 2 months, but CHOA microsphere degrade over several months to years. Okay, settled with the biodegradable filler. Now we go to the non-biodegradable filler, which is a permanent filler. Mainly it's used in the correction of few rows and deep lines of the skin that are beyond the normal facial wrinkles. Excellent option for facial rejuvenation, especially when there is need for facial and body volume restoration, such as in HIV lipodystrophy. This is what I mentioned in the earlier part of this lecture about the changes in skin, changes in the appearance due to the disease. So this is permitted. This filler, this purpose to get the filler is permitted by Islam because it is the appearance degraded due to the diseases. Patients may opt for non-biodegradable fillers. These fillers are not expensive, not tiresome for frequent injection. However, there are several disadvantages the permanent filler may pose. For example, it is uncertain how it will appear after 3 to 4 decades. Subacute reaction treatment of permanent filler is much more difficult than biodegradable one. Available commercial permanent filler materials, for example, silicone, polyacrylamide, polyalkylamide, and polymethyl methacrylate or PMMA. Okay, in the bracket is the example of the product available for each of the filler materials. PMMA is commonly used and has been shown to be safe, effective, and long-lasting. Permanent filler is generally not recommended at the first visit of patient who never been treated with fillers before. Typically they will pre-injected with saline or with the biodegradable filler to ensure that they are satisfied with the correction result. Okay, in the picture A, this is the condition of HIV lipodystrophy. Okay, the patient will look like this lah, dia cengkung-cengkung and then ada banyak kulit lebih macam tu sebab lipid dah degraded, dystrophy. And then these are the image in B at right hand side. After the filler, after the permanent filler. Okay, first we discuss the first filler material, which is silicone. One of the oldest injectable filler materials that had been used. Properties of it possesses the properties of medical grade silicone with the characteristic of clear, oily, colorless liquid composed of long chain of polymerized dimethylsiloxane. One of the recommended injection technique is the microdroplet technique, which is the fluid silicone is injected into the mist as 0.01 ml microdroplet, in which each of them is separated by 1 millimeter. Undercorrection is recommended. Okay, just now you heard the term about the overcorrection, okay, in the collagen filler. So for this silicone material, which is non-biodegradable filler, the undercorrection is recommended, as the main side effect of silicone filler is a foreign body reaction, fibrotic reaction. Due to its capacity to migrate, the injectable silicone is declared illegal by FDA in 1991 and also in Brazil, but it is widely used in other countries. Next material is polyacrylamide. It is transparent, biopolymers, hydrogels, biocompatible, non-toxic, physically and chemically stable, and also non-reabsorbable. It is composed of 97.5% water and 2.5% cross-linked polyacrylamide. It is recommended to be used for folds, for skin sculpturing, facial atrophy, and also increased lip volume. Also indicated for the correction of cosmetic defects caused by the trauma or genetic damage or diseases, to correct furrows and to restore face contour. Not effective for fine wrinkles, okay, since it should be injected deeply by using subcutaneous tunneling techniques. The advantage is the polyacrylamide is able to remove if there is a misinjection. For the disadvantage, it is a infection of hydrogel because it is based on 97.5% water. So bacteria suka sangat lah kalau ada water. That's why it is no longer commonly used. Now we go to the next material, which is polyalkylamide. It is transparent, biopolymers, hydrogels, biocompatible, non-toxic, physically and chemically stable, and also non-reabsorbable. It consists of alkyl amide group network 4% and also water 96%, same as the polyacrylamide. Indicated for folds, skin sculpting, facial atrophy, and for the correction of cosmetic defect. Not effective for fine lines, same as others. And its advantage is ability to remove it when injected in large volume. And its drawback is infection, okay, because it have 96% water. That's why it's no longer commonly used. It is available in two different viscosities for lip and facial augmentation. It must be injected Okay, now we go to the combination of permanent and biodegradable fillers. The first materials are the polymethyl methacrylate (PMMA) plus bovine collagen. Initially, it used as the bone cement. The PMMA, okay, the PMMA material is also used in bone cement. It is a vinyl polymer found in various products such as glasses, dental prosthesis, gigi palsu, and contact lenses. For example, name of product are the Articol, Metacryl, Linear Safe, Biosymmetric, and Metaderm. The main difference among them is the vehicle, and then regularity and also size of the particles. For example, Articol contains spherical PMMA with a smooth hand polished surface with 40 microns suspended in the ratio of 1 to 3 with a 3.5% bovine collagen and 0.3% lidocaine, marketed in boxes with 4 syringes containing 0.5 ml of the product. It is suitable for long-term correction of wrinkles and other skin defects. The injection should be made in the deep dermis or subcutaneous level. The other combination product is hydroxyethyl methacrylate (HEMA) plus hyaluronic acid. It consists of 40% bacterial hyaluronic acid and 60% acrylic hydrogel particles with a diameter of 45 to 65 micron. The product that have market this type of combination is Dermalife. Other products with similar formulation also existed, but with large particle size of 85 to 110 micron and higher hyaluronic acid content. For example, Dermadip, which is intended to be injected in deeper dermis. The overcorrection must be avoided. Okay, we settle with the filler. Now we go to the other well-known product used in aesthetic medicine, which is botulinum toxin. Botulinum toxin ataupun kita panggil Botox here is a powerful naturally occurring oxytocin produced by the anaerobic spore-forming bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. There are 7 distinct serotypes A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but Botox type A is the most potent and most used in clinical and aesthetic medicine. The explosion in the popularity of the BTSA treatment over the last 2 decades due to its safety and efficacy. Although the treatment for glabellar frown lines is currently the only approved cosmetic indication for certain product of BTSA. Okay, the indicated indicated use of the BTSA is glabellar frown line. Glabellar frown line ni ialah line di antara dua bulu kening. Kalau kita frown, dia ada line kan. Yang tu dipanggil glabellar frown line. So Botox A ni is indicated for that condition. But there are off-label indication, which is in muscle groups of the upper face, lower face, and neck, because it yield excellent result with the minimal complication. But bear in mind that are the off-label indication. The cultures of Clostridium botulinum yield the neurotoxin that's surrounded by a protective protein complex. BTS resistant to acid environment, but in tissue with higher pH, the covalent bond binding of the complex dissociates and release the BTS. And the mechanism of action causes flaccid paralysis of striated muscle by blocking the release of acetylcholine at neuromuscular junction. The available commercial BTS product, okay, several BTS-A serotype product are available from USA, UK, Germany, Korea, and China. Botox yang saya sebut tu ialah sebenarnya nama brand. Selain pada Botox, ada juga brand Dysport, Xeomin, Myoblock are also the market leaders worldwide and currently the only type A BTS product approved by FDA. The complexes which surround BTS toxin, mostly hemagglutinin, may vary in mass between the products. Although the complexes vary, the toxin itself is identical, consisting of a light chain and a heavy chain joined by disulfide bond. The BTS preparation comprised several excipients that include human albumin, which then vacuum freeze-dried and presented as white powder in vials for reconstitution with sterilized saline prior to use. They should be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius in fridge and ideally be used within 48 hours following the reconstitution. Okay, this is the some example of BTSA product. The brand name is Botox, Xeomin, and Dysport. The proprietary name is on different. Okay, and then this is the manufacturer of Botox, Xeomin, and Dysport, and all of them FDA approved. And this is the indication with the year of approval. Now we go to the complications related to the use of aesthetic medicine. Complications. Okay, these are some of the complications reported or adverse effect reported. For the collagen bovine filler, there are cases of allergic reactions, infections, reactivated herpes simplex, abscess formation, and tissue necrosis, and granulomatous foreign body reactions, and then cystic abscess. But this is rare. For the collagen human filler, it have the side effect may have mild non-tender erythema. Erythema is kemerah-merahan, and then allergic ulceration, okay, infection, and also injection site hyperpigmentation. And then the collagen porcine filler is swelling, bruising, erythema, pain, and palpable lumpiness. For hyaluronic acid, It is less allergenic as I mentioned before, but allergic reaction may occur caused by the residual protein from donor or from the cross-linking process. Hypersensitivity may also occur, immediate and resolve. Okay, this is resolved within less than 3 weeks. Erythema, kemerahan pun maybe akan berlaku. Pruritus, edema, urticaria, populocystic nodules pun akan is salah satu adverse effect for the hyaluronic acid. And then bluish discoloration, this is rare because this is usually caused by the injection mistake, which is injected too superficially. Okay, the synthetic filler also have its own complication and adverse effect, such as the polylactic acid filler, calcium hydroxyl apatite filler, silicone and polyacrylamide also have its own side effect. And polyacrylamide, silicone, polyacrylamide are all the permanent filler. Okay, so they also have side effects such as granulomatous reaction, pain on the injection site, edema, discomfort, long-lasting swelling, and also inflammatory reactions. Then the combination of degradable and non-degradable filler also have its own complication and adverse effect, such as granulomatous reaction, swelling, redness, itching, unevenness, and dislocation, granulomatous reaction, ulceration, and have the lead complications such as nodules, swelling, and erythema. Even in botulinum toxin also have a reported complication and adverse effect, such as the injected related mild ecchymosis, swelling and headache, excessive denervation of frontal, dia akan menyebabkan brow ptosis. Brow kiri atau kanan dia menurun, dia jatuh. And then chemodenervation around mouth akan menyebabkan lip weakness, difficulty speaking or eating, and smile asymmetry. Bila senyum tu sebelah kanan, lip sebelah kanan naik, lip sebelah kiri tak naik. Dia asymmetry. And then chemodenervation in neck such as dysphagia akan berlaku, ataupun dysphonia. Dysphagia ni susah nak telan. Dysphonia ni susah nak bercakap. Okay, that's all for today for this lecture, the aesthetic medicine. If you want to read more about this, you can refer to these references that have been used. Okay, if you want to join this Padlet, you may join to for any discussion or any question or or you have an opinion on this aesthetic medicine or today's lecture, it's welcome to give any feedback. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum.